Last month, I made $86,988 with one Instagram page, and in this video, I want to give you guys the framework on how you can do the exact same. Everything from building the page to making sales to scaling. And if I was able to do it as a wantrepreneur, struggling to make money online, literally pushing carts for $10 an hour, to now consistently making over $100,000 per month across all my businesses with Instagram, you can do it too. Ever since my first successful business, acquiring customers has always been the same for any other business that I start, and it starts with a content-first approach. Take it from me because I'm that guy that tried a bunch of business models. I failed a lot, I lost a lot of money, and I was pretty down bad at points in my life, to say the least. And only when I started approaching all of my businesses with the content-first approach did I start seeing major success. Now, I've tried multiple platforms to do this, like TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, but the most powerful by far is Instagram. There are two main ways to make money and get customers with Instagram, and both start with posting organic content. You can either start a faceless page or a personal brand and sell various products through them. I choose digital products because the product delivery is instant and the margins are very high. Now, with both of these types of pages, you can start with as little as $0 upfront, plus just one viral video can literally generate you tens of thousands of dollars. And trust me, I've seen this happen plenty of times, not only for me, but a lot of students inside the viral creator inner circle. Now, what I did to make over $86,000 in 1 month is through a personal brand that I manage. Now, our process is simple. We create content that attracts our ideal audience, then we push people into a simple landing page video sales letter. Then they have an option to book a call and get closed on that call. That's literally it. It's that simple. But you can even make it simpler than that. You can start a faceless page, post simple content like this, and then sell someone else's product to get 50% commission per sale. You basically get all the upside without even having to build a high quality product, which is really hard and time consuming. Trust me, I know, I've done it. All right, so before creating content and making money, there are 3 phases of an Instagram page that you should know about. Phase 1 is building a presence in a community organically. Phase 2 is optimizing your offer and sales process. And then phase 3 is scaling. Let's talk about phase 1, building a presence and community organically. This right here is the foundation you set for your page. You're gonna have to create content that builds trust, authority, and leadership. Because at the end of the day, if anybody is buying anything from you, you need to build an emotional connection with that person. Think of trust as content that shows transparency and authenticity. Authority as testimonials, social proof, results, and your story. And then leadership as your beliefs, big opportunities in the space, and your enemy. Now, if you're doing a faceless page, you can promote this type of content through just text on screen. What you should understand as well is that leadership is the most important part because it sells the audience into your solution, which is the product they'll be buying. Now that you understand the foundation, let's get into the most important part, the content. When I say content here, I'm really talking about Instagram Reels. The reason being is because Reels grow your page, and everything else like stories, feed posts, and DMs nurtures your audience and sells them into the product. But you're not gonna be able to nurture any audience if you haven't built one through Reels. So I'm gonna talk about 3 things here. First is identifying your audience, then content research, and lastly, content production. And make sure you don't skip any of these steps. Okay, so identifying your audience. Before putting out content, you have to understand what you're selling and who exactly you're selling to. The reason is because you need to attract the exact audience that will consider buying from you. To help you understand the type of content that you should be putting out, you can use this ChatGPT prompt that will identify what kind of content would work best for you. Now, this prompt is great because it will identify your audience's biggest pain points and desires. And then once you figure that out, you can create content about it. So here it is. Just make sure you replace the information in the square brackets with what you want to talk about and your target audience. Now, I'm not saying you need a product yet. Just have a rough idea on what the product is because you'll be selling to that particular audience. But you can always change what you're offering to them in the future as long as it's within the same topic. The last thing you want to do is build a niche page and then start posting content in a different niche. It's going to completely kill the page. And not having a product right now is actually a really great position to be in because you're going to build an audience and then fulfill the needs of that audience. That way you can ensure that you're making the most money possible. So you don't want to build a product and then try to sell that product to your audience and it turns out they don't want it. And I also do want to mention, and you should actually write this down and star it, if you do not have a product and you don't want to build one and risk that, what you can do is actually go on Copecart or Digistore24. They're affiliate websites, and you can find digital products that you can affiliate for and get like 40, 50, even 60% commissions off every sale that you make. So that way you can quickly test a bunch of products and see what your audience is actually interested in. Another great part about this is usually those products already have expert salespeople and marketing people that built out all the landing pages, the sales team, everything. So all you're gonna have to focus on is content. So let's get into content research. A philosophy or process that I live by, especially when starting something new, is this: experience leads to judgment, judgment leads to decision making. So the more experience that you have, which you usually get from trying and failing, the better judgment you will have, which means the more money you will make in a shorter amount of time. So the question is, how can you gain experience? Well, it's all about the inputs that you make. And the two most important inputs are content research and content production. Now, I'm not telling you to consume content all day. Please, please, please don't do that. What you should do is spend less than 20% of your time consuming content and 80% of your time producing content. That's a pretty good balance. I wouldn't do anything above 20%. So with that 20%, you should really start piecing together why videos go viral and find competitor videos that you can remake in a better way. So a good way to track this is by using a spreadsheet like this. Now, I want you to think of Instagram as a database of a bunch of viral videos you can pull from. You want to make sure that you are building your video, or at least the concept of it, off of something that has already gone viral. So there's no guessing, you are simply integrating, then innovating. Let's give a real life example and say you wanted to post 7 pieces of content this week. First, find a competitor in your niche, then find some of their most viral videos in the last 30 days and put them on the spreadsheet. Getting 7 shouldn't really take you more than an hour, so make sure you're not procrastinating. And now that you have the 7, stop consuming content for the rest of the week and start producing. Now, let's talk about content production. How can you tell good content from bad content? Everyone has their own opinion, but at the end of the day, Instagram will literally tell you by rewarding you with views, and that's the only opinion that should matter. This takes me into the producing your videos section. So you have to produce your videos for the algorithm. Now, I like to break the production of the videos up into 2 different parts to make it easy to understand. Think of this part as a puzzle. If you want a viral video, you need to make sure you have all the right pieces of the puzzle. So here we are. The first thing is the script, which is the overall idea and structure of the video. And the second one is the packaging, which is editing, lighting, location, tonality, sound effects, captions, tone, energy. Some of these elements will be in your videos, some won't, but make sure to keep all of them in mind. So some questions to ask yourself when you're scripting is the topic of the video in a trending market? Is there demand for it? Is your hook captivating? Is it valuable? And is there a payoff at the end? So keep these in mind. Now, some questions to ask yourself with the packaging are, if you showed the video to a friend that isn't even interested in the topic, will they enjoy watching the video? That's a big one. Next, is it engaging? Or is the video easily digestible? Now, there are a lot of psychology tactics you can use for the last question here, but simply put, does the video take a lot of brain power to consume? You have to make sure it doesn't, and it's broken down simply because people are stupid, and that's just the reality of it. If you want more people to see the video, you gotta keep it at a 3rd grade reading level. There's also something called the croc brain, and basically the croc brain filters out any unwanted information. Meaning, when somebody hears something, they either pay attention and allow it into their midbrain, or they don't. And in our case, if the croc brain doesn't allow the information to go into their midbrain, it usually means the viewer is going to keep scrolling. So I've given you all this information, but really what I want you to focus on is the first 20% of the video. Because if somebody watches the first 20% of the video, that usually means the croc brain allows the information to go into their midbrain. So at this point, the viewer is already pretty invested, and there is a high chance they'll watch the rest of the video so they can get a positive return on their time. Now, understand this, 80 to 90% of the success will come from the quality of the video. So the script and the packaging, as I mentioned before. The rest comes from your hashtags, posting times, etc. So don't worry about those things. Focus instead on producing high quality content. And at the end of the day, like I said, Instagram will tell you if your content is good by rewarding you with views. And after you post, you can even look at your metrics. So good metrics to optimize for are your average view duration, saves, and shares. Other metrics you can look at are your comments and likes, but these are less important. The reason why is this, and I want you to write this down. Instagram needs people to stay on their platform so that they can make money by running ads to their users. It's in your best interest to optimize for average view duration, saves, and shares. So really ask yourself those questions I mentioned earlier before posting. And even after posting, you should ask yourself what you can do better for next time. Now, onto phase 2, optimizing your offer and sales process. You should also have trust, authority, and leadership with your audience. If you don't, you won't make much money. Influence over your audience is important when selling. Anyone can get millions of views, but not everyone can make a ton of money unless this is done properly. So if you have successfully done this, your followers will buy. Now, the offer, or in other words, the product, will identify how much they buy. So like I said before, you can either build your own product or you can affiliate for a really good one. I won't go into building one because I feel like there are a ton of YouTube videos out there on the topic. But what I will say is that it's important for you to give your audience what they want. So earlier I said, even if you don't have a product right now, don't worry, because as you post more content, your topics might slightly change and you might find even bigger problems in your niche that you're gonna have to provide a solution for. So figure out exactly what your existing audience wants by running polls on your Instagram stories, looking and replying to comments, and then literally just talk to people in the DMs. All of this data that you're collecting should go into the marketing material for when you are actually promoting the product on your page. This right here will give you a massive advantage because you'll be providing a solution to pretty much all of their pains. So if you're not getting sales, it's probably two things. Number one, it's too expensive, or number two, you're not promoting the product with the audience's pain points in mind. So mess around with these two things and you will see a massive difference in how many sales you get. Now, if you already have a page and you're struggling with this step, DM me on Instagram, I'll give you a free consultation. Moving on. Phase 3, which is scaling. This is my favorite part because this is where you make a fuck ton of money. So there are many avenues you can go down here. The first is you can vertically scale by doubling down on the quality of your content and post more times per day. I suggest not posting more than 3 per day. The second is you can horizontally scale by building multiple of the same pages and use virtual assistants and different AIs to automate this process. Now, this right here works very well for faceless pages. However, personal brands, people like Iman, people like Luke Belmar, they have done incredibly well by doing this for their businesses. Now, the third is with paid traffic. Now, with paid traffic, I'd have to make a whole video explaining how this works, but this is used when getting to those really big numbers, like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or millions of dollars a month. And now I definitely mess around with ads, especially when we have a proven product under a personal brand. It's just one of the best ways to scale. Now, to get to $100,000 a month, you do not need to mess around with ads. Ads are very complex. You have to be a high-level marketer. So unless you are a high-level marketer or you have partners in your business, I don't necessarily recommend going into ads right away. Guys, I have a ton of YouTube videos on this stuff, so you can pretty much get all the info you need to do this for yourself on my channel, even if you're starting from scratch. But if you do want to work with me and get your hand literally held, I have an option for you. I've helped dozens of students now hit their first $5, $10, even $15,000 a month with Instagram starting from scratch, and there's no reason that I can't do the same with you. So if you want to work one-on-one with me, check the link at the top of the description, and I hope you learned a lot. Peace.